Hello and welcome to the League One Lowdown preview show. As always, my name is Sam and I'm joined by Mr. Callum Davis. How are you, Callum?
I'm not too shabby. How are you, Sam? We doing all right?
All good, my friend. Delighted that Richie Wellens is still Leyton Orient manager, which we'll get onto a bit later.
It was close, wasn't it? It was close.
Squeaky bum time, I think, is the correct
we
phrase.
had some fun messages, didn't we?
Yeah,
it was so much fun. You could tell. We know in the behind the scenes chat. If anyone knows Sam, he was absolutely let's put it this way: a few pants were washed. I think it was quite close, wasn't it? Oh dear me.
Yeah, to get to the final two, but thankfully he's still at the helm. So if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. We've got some very different episodes this week. We've got a Luton Town fan coming on to discuss Jack Wilshere, the appointment and the season as a whole. In the next couple of weeks, we've got Stevenage fan coming on to discuss them. And in the next couple of weeks, we've got an overrated, every club's most overrated League One player. That's a bit of a tongue twister for you this time.
I'm looking forward to annoying some people with that.
Oh yeah, it's been some time since you've annoyed some people, my friend. So
I've been well behaved, haven't I?
You have.
I've been very well behaved recently.
That's because Birmingham
that can't last very long. Yeah, can we where is the new Birmingham, guys? Like, what are we playing at? Huddersfield, get it together. I want to bully
you. But as always, we start with the predictions league. Callum, you obviously had a shoddy week, I think, by your standards 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
with the limited fixtures that were there last week, the scores are a lot lower. You did win. You won because you got your wild card correct, my friend. So you got 5 points for a correct wild card score. That's your third one of the season, which is why you're so far in the lead. So you got 8 points and I got 5. So you won because of your wild card. So well done to you. You're 15 points clear, still in the leaderboard. I've on 91 points and you are on 106. So
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're pretty delighted with that. Another match week victory for yourself.
I'll take it. I've got a steady weight. But like the thing is, I don't think it means anything because I think I was at this many points ahead at the penultimate game week, and then it just all completely disappeared and it was terrible. So never mind. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But a poor showing. I think if we were going on correct outcomes, you'd probably be ahead. But because of the wild card and correct scores and stuff, I'm ahead. So we'll see how it goes.
So your wild cards is 15 points. 3 correct scores is 15 points. So there's the gap.
Difference maker. It's the difference maker.
Yeah, so it's worked in your favour, this new rule that I've put in this year. So I might take it away from you for next year.
Let's not do that.
Anyway, before we get into the preview part, we're going to start with a question of the day. It's a new thing we're going to try here on the preview show. So either write your answers down on a bit of paper or put them in the comment section below. And the answers will be during that particular game of the preview. So make sure you listen to the entire show to find out the answers. So it's based on expected points. We all know I love my expected points. So who is top and bottom of the expected points table? And it's teams that I didn't expect. That is your little clue for that. So
if you didn't know, we actually do expected views behind the scenes of the podcast. Sam loves his expected goals and expected points so much. We just operate on expected points and expected listens and all of this stuff. Who cares how many people are actually subscribed? It's just what we expect at this point.
Just vibes. Just vibes. I've turned it to Callum this year with just vibes.
Just vibes.
And speaking of two clubs who are not enjoying positive vibes at the moment is Huddersfield Town and Bolton Wanderers. Now, you've obviously spoken about League One and if the Huddersfield Town's fans were right to boo. What about Bolton
I was on the
fans?
wrong side. I was on the wrong side of that debate. I think I've learned looking at the comments. I got roasted.
What about Bolton Wanderers? No win so far away from home. Lost their last 2 away from home as well. And they are now travelling to a Huddersfield Town side who are actually pretty snappy at home, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah. Well, I think we summed it up, didn't we? We say it all the time with teams like Bolton and Wigan to an extent. They almost feel like they're cursed to stay here forever in League One. I don't know what it is that they've done in a past life. What's happened, if they've had some sort of Holy Spirit visit their stadium and banned them from ever challenging for promotion. It just feels like Bolton, they had the formula, didn't they, when they had Ian Evatt in, and then they had one poor season under him. Rightly, we all called for him at the time to walk and were almost relieved for him when he left. but it does feel like something's not clicking, and what that is, I don't know. It can't be the relationship between the players and the manager, surely, again, because they keep changing that. So I don't know what it is at Bolton. They have the players. I suppose the question is, do they have the squad? Do they have the actual complete 11? Because, like you say, it's the marker is PSG, isn't it? You know, they had all those star players. You know, they had Messi and Neymar and whatnot. But they never really clicked, did they? So I think that's kind of, I'm not, by no means am I comparing Bolton Wanderers to PSG, but the kind of sentiment applies. So yeah, 2 wins in their last 4, but also 2 defeats. They seem to be in this inconsistent pattern that just, it sums it up, doesn't it? The past 2 games kind of sum it up. They beat one team that's close to the relegation zone in Peterborough, or bottom of the league, Peterborough. And then at the time, who were also in the relegation zone in Burton Albion, lost. So it's very confusing. And Steven Schumacher, I don't know, because we know he can do it in this league. So surely the players should respect him enough. I don't know. It's very similar to Huddersfield Town. We are only 12 games into the season, but at the end of the day, teams should be clicking 12 games into the season, not still figuring it out. In terms of how I expect this specific game to go, I know I've not really touched on Huddersfield, but I suppose I do that more than enough. I'll probably back Huddersfield, to be honest.
Okay.
I'll back them 2-1. 2-1, why not?
Okay. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw in this one. If you like your previous meeting stat, Huddersfield lost the last 2 meetings between the sides, but had won their previous 5 meetings between the sides before that. It's difficult with Bolton, isn't it? Like you say, I think it's more of a mentality thing away from home. They've won 4 of their 6 home games and drawn the other 2, drawn 3 and lost 3 of their away games. Interestingly, I think we're about to see how good Bolton really are and where they're going to be. Their next 4 opponents have an average points per game of 2.18, which is the hardest next 4 games in the league. So I think we're about to see roughly where Bolton end. They had a whole host of chances, obviously, last week, and they didn't take against Burton and were made to punish. So we'll see what happens with Bolton. But if you go off statistically going forward, they are one of the best teams in the division. Moving on to 2 teams who are, one of them is the worst in the division, Peterborough United. They sit bottom of the pile against Burton Albion, who are doing better than they did last year. It took them to December to get what they've got points-wise this season. So kudos to Gary Bowyer, and a bit of stability's finally happened at Burton. 2 wins in their last 3 and drawing the other, so unbeaten in 3. 1 defeat in their last 5 games. So they're at the bottom 4 as well, doing what Burton do best, being in 20th place. I think the only concerning thing to come out of Burton in the past week is the amount of money they've lost in last year. £8 million lost. I mean, that's ridiculous for a League One club.
The thing is, you say it's crazy. I mean, we talk about the club I know best is Lincoln City, as you can tell by the shirt, which is last season's shirt because I haven't bought this one's. They lost 3 million last year, and that's considered okay for a League One club. So 8 million probably sounds bad and is bad, but this is also football, and you don't go into football really to make a profit unless you're the upper echelon. I still think the biggest thing over Burton is the investigation into last season and their record-breaking signings. I think they're in. Well, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it does stink of potentially a points deduction, and maybe they've got to give themselves a buffer because they could be back down to 0. 12-point deduction, or I don't know. It could be 5, could be 10. Funnily enough, a 5-point deduction wouldn't even put them bottom of the table. That's how bad Peterborough have been. And moving on to Posh, you did think back-to-back wins, that they're getting somewhere, especially against Plymouth Argyle. I mean, that was a hugely impressive performance. But then they just get slapped about by Lincoln, and again, it's destroyed their confidence, losing to Bolton last time out. Granted, they've not played for a week. They've had a week off, so maybe that's Darren Ferguson's chance to actually, nurture his players, and that's what they've got to do with a young squad. It is a young squad. I know they have some experienced heads in there, but it is a young squad in general. I'm going to probably put this to Burton.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've said with a lot of the promoted teams, they have to make their home form the most important thing. And obviously Burton, I think we'll see that with a 3-0 win against Bolton. I think they'll follow this up with a 2-0 win against Posh. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I've gone for a 2-1 victory. And again, if you like your head-to-heads, Peterborough have won the 3 of the last 10 meetings between the sides. In the last 10 meetings, there's also been 5 draws. So we've both got Burton to win there. And interestingly, if you're interested, Peterborough have the easiest run of next 4 the second easiest run of next 4 fixtures in League One, with an average points per game of their opponent of 1.17. Only Wycombe Wanderers of 1.09 have an easier next 4 games. So maybe we'll see them climb the table, but don't hold your breath against it. Moving on to your team, Callum, Lincoln City had a week off. So did Stevenage. Probably the worst time for them to have a week off, I think it's fair to say, with sort of the momentum that's built behind both of these clubs. Stevenage obviously sitting top of the pile in exceptional form all season, and your team in 6th place, just inside the playoff places.
Yeah, just as the Burton game, this one also an early kickoff, 12:30. So an early start for Lincoln fans, and I think in England, Lincoln's other early kickoff, they won, didn't they? I think off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So early kickoffs and Lincoln, I think they're unbeaten in their last 2 seasons. I don't think they've lost an early kickoff. So the form is with Lincoln in that very niche market, but Stevenage hard to break down. So were Lincoln, to be fair. They've both got near identical records this season. Both scored 17. Stevenage just conceding 2 less this season so far. I think Lincoln are going to be tough to break down. It does depend on the availability of Conor McGrandles, which who'd have thought we'd have been saying that 12 months ago. Nonetheless, I was reminded by a colleague of mine that I referred to him as boring last season, which... But to be fair, you can see that as a compliment, can't you? He does the job that he needs to do and goes about it quite quietly, and your teams need a player like that. So, doesn't surprise me at all that he's getting the plaudits he deserves. Stevenage, like you say, coming at a tough time for them, this pause, because they have got that positive momentum. The one thing you can say with League One international breaks is at least the players don't go anywhere. That the majority of the players are in the same sort of area. That they're not going away. There will be, wouldn't surprise me if Lincoln played in a friendly or something behind closed doors, or Stevenage played in a friendly behind closed doors. I don't know anything off the top of my head, but they will maintain a routine over the past week. But it's not the same, is it? I'm gonna back Lincoln. It's just what I have to do. I would back us 1-0. I think. And I'm going to wildcard that as well. I think. So I think that's the sort of result, because I haven't wildcarded Lincoln this month, have I?
No.
I think that's kind of that will be Michael Scabala's game plan completely. By the way, it will be to go out and stifle them. So yeah.
I think what's interesting between both these sides is Lincoln City are averagely possession-wise the lowest in the league, 38.5. Stevenage are second lowest.
Yeah.
Third lowest, sorry. Third lowest, 43.8. So it's 2 teams that play their best football without the ball. But one of you is going to have to control the ball. So I think that'll be a rather interesting game.
The last time a team forced Lincoln to do that was last time out. It was Exeter, and Lincoln lost it late on. So we'll see.
Two teams very good from set pieces, so it'll be interesting to see how that game plays out. But I've gone for a 1-1. If you're interested in the head-to-head, 6 of the last 7 games have had the winning side keeping a clean sheet, and the last 3 meetings at Sinsel Bank have all ended in draws, with 2 being 0-0. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it being 0-0, to be honest. Moving on to Luton Town, they face Mansfield Town in the Battle of the Towns. We're not going to touch too much on Jack Wilshere in this episode, because we have the Luton Town special coming up later in the week. So, Callum, you're not on that episode, so your take on Jack Wilshere going to Luton Town?
I think it's kind of role reversal of the 2 sides of what I kind of said about Blackpool. I thought they needed the younger manager to come in and maybe give them some fresh ideas. I suppose that's also the thinking at Luton Town. Jack Wilshere, we know he's not proven himself too much, I suppose, as a first team coach. There were rumours I read that he wanted to go back to the Arsenal under-21s academy in the summer, but I think turned that down because he wanted to try his hand at first team management elsewhere. I think Luton Town is probably a good environment to do that. They obviously have decent facilities, being ex-Premier League, they will have invested in that. Obviously, we talk about the parachute payments and the new stadium that they're building. It is an exciting appointment, I think, for Luton fans. I wouldn't be worried about it. I don't think it will get worse. I don't think he'll come in and do a Wayne Rooney flop.
Oh, we're clipping that if it goes wrong.
I don't think he will. But I do think perhaps someone with more experience and a bit more, someone who can get a bit shouty would have been better. But I don't know. I could be proven wrong, and I'd like to see him succeed because to all intents and purposes, he sounds like a lovely. He obviously didn't have the best of luck with injuries as a professional, so I'd like to see him do well. It's just whether he will.
Yeah,
I'm 50-50 on, if I'm honest.
Yeah, he's obviously got that filtration with the club, starting his whole current footballing journey there. Yeah. If you listen to I've listened to both interviews. He's done very well to get Chris Powell to come with him as well. I think that's a really shrewd appointment, very experienced, knows the game inside out. Has obviously worked with England as well, so that will massively help. But I'm just glad they didn't get Wellens because I think personally he would have been a better appointment. Pound for pound, Wellens has proven himself.
And I think Wellens would have been the dream appointment. And I think, dare we suggest if he hadn't have signed new contracts and things like that, and the buyout fee wasn't as high, he I think it was, from what the reporting is, between the two of them. It was between those two. And to be honest, in terms of first games, you probably couldn't get any better than Mansfield, a side that are struggling for form, one win in I don't know how long. They are slipping down the table a little bit. You wonder where their next win is coming from. I think this is a good game for Jack Wilshere to get off the mark.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I kind of back Luton in this one. I'm going to go 2-0. I think, and I've kind of backed them to kind of actually, have a bit more energy about them. I hope that's the vibe because I want to be excited to see Luton Town play. Like they're a big name. Like fans should be excited to see Luton Town play. Especially modern football fans. We see them as a Premier League side. Should be excited to see them play, not disappointed at how dreary they were when they came to Sincil Bank. Like they were poor. Yeah. And you don't want to see that. You want to see an exciting game. You don't want to see a poor game, and that's what Luton Town brought. I hope it changes.
And they've obviously still got players that were on with this upward journey, haven't they? With Gordon Clark. So if you can tap into that, I think they will be okay. Mansfield have won one of the last eight meetings between the sides, which was back in 2015. But the sides haven't met since 2018, so the head-to-head kind of is a bit worthless in that regard. So moving on to our fan feature, with Sky Bet. This week is obviously we had the FA Cup draw. Your team, Callum, got Salford City, I believe, and we are going to Spudman away in Tamworth. Their 10-year-old AstroTurf pitch, which I found out.
Is that what they're called now, by the way? Spudman away? That's
what I'm now calling it. Yep.
Is that a thing now? Oh God.
Yeah. Knowing my luck, Spudman will be shut the day I go there, if I choose to go.
Lovely spuds, by the way. Having been twice, very nice. They were lovely. Anyway, we got very distracted there.
We've got very distracted. In terms of the FA Cup, obviously replays got scrapped last year, and Tamworth are a very good example of this. They would have had a replay against Spurs, and it got taken away from them for an extra time. Now, would you say that's lost some of the beauty of the FA Cup in terms of replays being scrapped?
I mean, the answer is yes. You can see why they're not. It just frustrates me because you've got Gainsborough Trinity, right? And this is a story that I know off the back of my heart, like the back of my head. That Gainsborough Trinity, brilliant football club. I know all the people behind the scenes; they are brilliant. And I was at this game at the weekend where they were winning 1-0 against Hartlepool United, which ex-Football League side would have won that game, and there was a really unfortunate goal. I'm sure you can see this online somewhere, where Hartlepool players hit it from 30 yards. It's hit the crossbar and then gone off the backside of the goalkeeper. They've earned a replay, and they have earned a replay, not just rode their luck. They've earned a replay at Hartlepool, and they're travelling up there, and they'll play Hartlepool United, in front of a big crowd, because they've just changed the manager. So you imagine a big crowd, and then they'll play Accrington Stanley at home if Gainsborough Trinity get through. It is really upsetting that because it's twofold, isn't it? Because you get the extra payday, don't you, of supporters, and you potentially earn that big payday against at the other stadium like Trinity will today. The other side is the exposure, and I think that's the real loss, because tonight Gainsborough will get a lot of exposure because they took Hartlepool all the way. Tonight, Farnham Town, sorry, as I should say, we're recording this on a Tuesday before all of the replays take place. Farnham Town, obviously, they got a lot of exposure at the weekend because it was on the BBC Sport website. I think they were streaming it. They got a huge exposure from that. They're going to get huge exposure tonight at Sutton if they get through, or even if they don't get through. Huge exposure, right? So it's a real shame that they don't get that exposure, and instead they have like the National League Cup to play in or something like that. I think it is a shame. I can understand why they do it. And to be fair, if there is any level of football club that should know about fixture congestion, it's non-league football.
Yeah.
Like these guys, I don't know, like let's use the stereotypes because they're probably true. We'll be plumbing toilets on Monday and Tuesday. I guarantee you someone today will be painting and decorating Monday, Tuesday. We'll have a half day today to travel all the way up to Hartlepool to then play a football match. We'll get back from Hartlepool at 1 a.m. today and then be up tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock to do another week's of work before playing again on the Saturday. But they do that because it's the love of the game, right? And I feel like that's what's been taken out of it. I know that I've taken up most of this fan feature ranting about it, but I love FA Cup replays.
Yeah.
But I do also love the FA Cup. So it's one of them that no matter what happens to the FA Cup, I will still probably love it. Because of the moment, because of what happened with Lincoln City there, because of what happened with Leyton Orient. You get a story like this for your club once every 2 decades. It happens to every club once every 20 years or so. And you'll remember it forever. So no matter what happens, the FA Cup will always have a special place in everyone's heart.
Yeah, 100%. It's the biggest, I think, domestic competition. You could, other than the Champions League, which is a European competition, domestic competition in the world, arguably. Most prestigious as well and well known. And I do agree, like we are catering towards clubs like West Ham, Wolves, who don't often appear in Europe. Averagely will play, let's say they go out in the second round that they compete in the Cup, averagely play 42 games a season.
Yeah.
Well, the League One clubs are playing 46 games, plus the Virtue Trophy thing that nobody ever seems to care about. So let's say they play 5 in that, so we're already at 50. They then play the League Cup and the Carabao Cup. Let's say they get to the third round in both. You're at nearly 60 games.
It's a 60-game a season, isn't it? It is a 60-game season, and it just I get that they're not traveling to they're not traveling to Kazakhstan in the Champions League or the Conference League. I get it, right? But let's be honest, the trip from Newcastle or like some of the teams that are further north in divisions, you remember when Carlisle were in this division, like Carlisle playing Truro. That's got to be a longer trip on a coach than the flight from London to Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it will
probably. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know, but like it's one of them. And the thing is, it's the final thing I'll say on it, because we should say this is not a rant about the FA Cup. We love the FA Cup. We are positive about it. We absolutely adore it, and I can wax lyrical about what it did for Lincoln City. I wouldn't be on this podcast talking if it wasn't for the FA Cup, probably. And it serves up stories like that, right?
Yeah.
But they're just tinged with a bit of, this could be so much better than it could be. It could be so brilliant. But, there was nothing like, I felt heartbreak on Saturday reporting on that Gainsborough Trinity draw with Hartlepool United. It was heartbreaking, but I wouldn't change that. You know, if they'd have won, it would have been great.
Yeah.
But what a match. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love the FA Cup. I think it's incredible. Replays, bring them back. Like, stop complaining. And the last thing I'll say, it comes down to managerial incompetence. If your players are getting injured because you're making them play football matches, you're the one that selects them.
Yeah.
Like, if you know there's a chance your player might get injured because, like, select your other player. Like, manage your squad correctly, Pep. Like, this is not me telling Pep Guardiola what to do, but if you know Rodri's going to get injured because he's playing too many games, play your other centre midfielder that's playing on the bench for half the season. Like, use your brain. Anyway.
What I will say about the replays, the final point on before we move on, is why are we taking replays out, but we've got to have them now? So we're having replays now where these smaller teams are playing most of their season because the pitches are okay now, but we can't have them in January when the big clubs are in it because of fixture congestion.
But I'm all for it. Like, I love watching a football league. I love watching like Tottenham play. Was it Mask? What was the name? When Liverpool played it, was it Lask or something like that? And like, the pitch was terrible.
Yeah,
like I love that.
Yeah,
That's
obviously we had
brilliant, isn't it?
We had Plymouth beat Liverpool last year. We had City at Orient. We had Tamworth taking Spurs to extra time. So you get that magic and whiff. And as a fan of a smaller club, it's brilliant. It is brilliant.
And that is heroes, and it sometimes goes away, but that's football. It's never perfect.
And that is our fan feature this week, brought to you by Sky Bet. So thank you, Sky Bet, for your continued support. And moving on to a team that has been brilliant this season is Bradford City. They are currently second in the league, unbeaten in 4, drawing last time out. And they host a Barnsley side who are going backwards. No win in 3, 2 defeats in 3. Has the Conor Hourihane effect finally worn off? And considering they only have one striker, which is Kilo Dunn.
Yeah, there's only so far that fan momentum can take you in there. I think that's kind of what we're learning here. What I thought might happen is slightly happening. I think he probably is a good manager, but is he a good people manager? Like, he probably has good tactics, but when the going gets tough and when at this point he needs to rotate his squad to manage player minutes and things like that, is he going to be effective in doing that? We'll see. As for Bradford, I mean, yeah, they're doing very well. 1 defeat all season. That come in against Doncaster Rovers, who since then have forgotten how to play football.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with them. Obviously, a 2-2 draw against Rotherham United, that is a slight asterisk on there, but they've not played in. They'll have not played in over 2 weeks because they played that match was on the Thursday night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, in terms of scorelines for this, I mean, Bradford joint top goal scorers in the league, doing very well. I kind of back them here, especially with that home advantage. We talked about how huge that would be for them, and I think it will be. They're unbeaten at home so far this season. Only sit second behind Stevenage as well in the home form table. So yeah, I'll go with a 3-0 win. 3-0 win. 3-0.
I've gone for Bradford to make it 6 from 6 at home. I've gone for a 2-1 win. Bradford have only won one of the last 7 meetings between the sides, and Barnsley have won the last 3 meetings between the sides in League One, keeping a clean sheet in each of them. On to Cardiff City, who face Reading. Now, having watched both of these sides, Cardiff have individual ability going forward, especially look vulnerable in possession because of the brand of football they actually play. Reading don't, in my opinion, have an identity, but they do have Jack Marriott, who's got 5 in his last 5 for Reading. So when you've got a goal scorer, makes a hell of a difference. And in 2011, conveniently, this was a Championship playoff final, which to me, 2011 doesn't feel that long ago. It's 14 years ago, so I now feel like a really old man.
I don't know. I think in terms of how this game will go, I think personally Cardiff have the ability, don't they? I feel like Reading just don't have any sort of almost team morale. Like, you just struggle to see what their their identity is, like you say, or just that squad cohesion just isn't there. I don't want to say they've given up on the manager, but it almost feels like that. I'm going to obviously back Cardiff here. I think 2-0 probably feels like a fair result.
Yeah, exactly what I've gone for. I have gone for a 2-0, and then I have wild carded that fixture. Moving on to the sort of the wraparound games, we have Blackpool versus Wycombe. Blackpool, at the time of recording, are still managerless. They face a Wycombe side who has some sort of a resurgence under Michael Duff.
Yeah, Blackpool could really do with getting someone in, else they're going to find themselves cut adrift and with plenty of work to do. Wycombe, signs of improvement, a draw and a win, the last two. They need, a win could lift them all the way up to 12th, should results go their way. So yeah, I'll back Wycombe on this one. Probably 2-0. Probably. I imagine they'll go to the seaside and get them done.
Okay, I've gone for a 1-1 draw, and if you are paying attention at the start of the episode with the question, Blackpool are the team that are bottom of the league based on expected points. Moving on then to Rotherham versus Leyton Orient. Rotherham got a point last time out, I believe, against Bradford. And I watched that game and I thought they were quite good, to be honest, Rotherham. And Orient have just come back off the back of scoring 7 goals in their last 2 league games and actually keeping a rare clean sheet, winning 4-0 at home to Doncaster, which I said to Jamie when he asked me, it's a performance that's brewed because we're so good going forward. And it was a game of no mistakes. We've sold out our allocation going up to Yorkshire. I'm going to test my geography again. And I'm going to back us to win again because I just think when you've got that it's around this time last year where we were really inconsistent, a bit up and down. I'm hoping we've learned our lesson. Like, you can learn a lot from that sort of experience. The team are still going to want to put in a show, obviously, with Wellens staying. So I think we'll win 3-1.
They also won, Rotherham won last time out. They drew against Bradford, didn't they? But then they, in that 2:00 kickoff,
the stupid
beat
o'clock
Northampton 2-1, thanks to the rules of rugby. I will go, probably back Leyton Orient on this one, 2-1. Just depends whether they score a lot of goals. You just get 7 goals. It's done your top goal scorer charts. A lot of good. I was just looking at the top goal scorers in the league. Ballard on 6th and Connolly 4th means that Leyton Orient are 3rd and 4th. And the top goal scorer charts, just Keeler Dunn and Mason Burstow scoring more
we have
so far this season. So
we're the joint top scorers in the league with Bradford. Worst defence in the league. So that's Leyton Orient Football Club for this season.
Turning into Peterborough.
Yeah. Just not in the relegation zone. Final 4 then, we've got Plymouth versus AFC Wimbledon, who have been mightily impressive. 2 teams you probably expected to be in different positions at this point in the season. But I do think Plymouth will win this one 2-1.
That's a strong bet. Wimbledon second. Exactly the same record as Stevenage over the last 5 games as well. One thing that does go against them is the away tie, which means that Wimbledon are down to 6th. Wimbledon very mismatch when it comes to away games. They've won 3, lost 3, so it could swing either way really for them. I don't think a draw is in the offing here. I will probably back Wimbledon in this match and go. Let's go 1-0 to Wimbledon.
Okay,
why not?
Fair enough. Moving on to the next one is Port Vale away at Wigan Athletic. And if you listen to the question of the day at start, Port Vale are the team who are top of the league based on expected points. Who would have got that? Port Vale.
No one.
Which shows the great work that Darren Moore is doing at that football club. They've now got a goal scorer in Devante Cole, who is firing. Wigan are doing what Wigan seemingly do every year. It must be a problem with that region, with Wigan and Bolton in the same area. We expect them to do well, and they don't. And against a Port Vale side who are incredibly in form, scoring goals freely, and just look a really good team. But do I back them to go to Wigan and win? Yes. I back Wigan every week, and they don't do me the business. So Port Vale, win 2-1.
Well, yeah. The issue is they've drawn the last 2 games of Port Vale against Northampton and Wimbledon. So it's are they going to be able to get back to winning ways? They haven't had a week off, so they've got a bit of momentum. Whereas Wigan's home form is where is it? The mid-table, so nothing really right home about. I kind of back Port Vale here. Go 2-1, I think, probably.
Okay. Yeah, same as me. Stockport County versus Exeter. Exeter, another long journey for Exeter up to Stockport County. Now, this one, Stockport, I think we're starting to see the glimpses, aren't we, of a team that's now starting to get going, I think it's fair to say. Jaden Wareham has done well for Exeter since coming in. They've now got a goal scorer. But I think this should be a type of game where Stockport, no offence to Exeter, just sweeping them aside and win 2-0.
Yeah, so they've creeped up there though, haven't they? I don't really know how they've done that because they've not had a strong start. They've just been there, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm going to back Stockport again, probably 3-0.
3-0.
Although we thought that against Lincoln, didn't we?
You did.
And then they've beaten them. So, let's not count our chickens before they've hatched, I suppose is the phrase.
And one team that were counting their chickens before the start of the season is, especially after the first 5 games, Doncaster Rovers. They've plummeted down the table. Grant McCann doesn't seem to know his best team, and he said he was loyal to certain players, which may not happen, and influence his team selection this weekend, where Northampton, obviously, on the back of a disappointing, I think, defeat to Rotherham, conceding 2 goals when they were leading. I think this is probably the most tricky game to call, purely because Doncaster are so out of form, but they do have a bit of magic in their boots with certain players, where Northampton are such a well-oiled machine, but that defeat at home to Rotherham could dampen the spirits. So I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Doncaster's form means they're bottom of the last 5 games. They are really in the doldrums. Northampton, given they're currently 3 points above the drop zone, and I've probably predicted other teams to win, I think Northampton will win to restore that 5-point buffer to the relegation zone. There's your shot, by the way. If you've got that bingo card, Callum mentions Northampton's 5 points to the relegation zone. I will say 2-1 to Northampton.
2-1 to Northampton. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up another bumper preview show. The full fixture list this weekend. So if you're not already subscribed, please do on the YouTube channel. So we've got Luton, Stevenage specials coming up. We've got overrated players from every League One club. So different types of episodes coming out. So make sure you subscribe. If you're following us on the audio platforms, make sure you hit the follow button and give us a rating. That is greatly appreciated. But if you have enjoyed, we'll hopefully see you in the next podcast.